All right, everybody. This is Chance coming at you again here. We're going to do a daily kind of tarot reading and see where this takes us. I don't normally do these, but I figured it would be a good way to talk with you guys and, maybe make some new connections. So let's see what we can do here. So I'm just going to log into the chat. You guys. Sorry about that. Okay, so I don't know why it's saying live chat is currently unavailable. There we go. All right, now I got it. Okay, perfect. All right, so we're going to see what we can come up with for the day. And I'm not going to promise anything. Maybe some meditation, maybe some guided messages from spirit. I feel like would be a good way to sort of, for me, it's kind of starting the day. I mean, my day started earlier. We had to take our kitten to the vet to get fixed. Her name is Trixie, and she is adorable. So I think she'll be okay. But you always worry when these little fur babies get their have to go to the vet. So, all right. So let's start this out. I'm just gonna look at something really quick. Okay. So everyone, sit back and enjoy the show. All right. See what we can come up with, guys. Let's do the Energy Oracle here. These are really good cards. For me, these ones have a lot of, they have a lot of energy, right? Energy is nothing more than attention that is placed on something. At least that's how I think of it. It's all about the perception. Okay, let's do 3 more shuffles. 3 more shuffles. Kind of get things going, get things kind of geared up here. And also, you guys, I do have my 12 other zodiac signs. I did those yesterday. So if you want to, please check those out on the channel. And all of them are linked to each other. So if you look at Aries and then you want to look at Aquarius or something like that, every one of them is linked together in the description. So, yeah. Okay, let's do 2 more shuffles. And this is the last shuffle here. So there we go. Okay, so we've got, I'll show you guys here in a second. Awesome, Gigi. Hopefully everything is going well with your work. But yeah, I'm doing good. I am doing just fine. Just doing some dailies. Well, thank you for dropping in. I appreciate that, my friend. So we have this card here, okay? This is for our daily readings, kind of the energy for the day. And of course, this is general, right? So, woman holding a coin in reverse. Then we have community. Then we have magician and the mirror. So there could be something with job advancement. That could be something. The woman holding the coin in reverse, it could be that maybe we're trying to start a passive stream of income, but it's not quite taking off, right? Awesome. Good. So when we have, like I said, woman holding a coin in reverse, to me, the woman holding the coin, it can represent a career woman, absolutely, but to me, it could also represent passive income. So having something that keeps generating revenue. So maybe we're looking to invest money to make money, right? We're planting our little money trees, and the only thing is, you got to remember to water those sons of guns because they need it in order to get that money on that tree. So I think this is a really good thing right here. However, in reverse, it could be that maybe we're investing foolishly, or maybe we're investing money into something we don't fully understand, okay? It doesn't mean it won't be successful, but we could be just kind of putting stuff willy-nilly. Maybe, for example, we're investing a lot of money in Bitcoin, but we don't even know what it is, right? We just know it's popular right now. And so it's important for us to look at our investments and to see kind of what the trend is, right? Especially with investing, we need to follow a trend chart and see what's going on, okay? Certain investments hit what's called new floors all the time, and those are good investments, but they take time for money to come through generally. So have yourself look at that kind of stuff moving forward. Now, this right here, community. Community. This is a good card, and it means what you would think it means. It means community. It means there can be people around us. Maybe there's a celebration coming up. Maybe there's this feeling. I mean, there is Thanksgiving that's coming up in a while. And hi, Reed. Hopefully I'm saying the name right. I'm doing some dailies right now, my friend. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I appreciate that. I do not do free questions, but I do appreciate you liking and subscribing. It's $10 a question, so if you want to know the answer to that, we can do that. But I'm doing the dailies now, so yeah, community right here. There can be people around us. There can be a celebration of sorts. There can be something along those lines. And if there is a celebration, that's going to be something that we can relax in. Like I said, the holidays are coming up in the US, right? Thanksgiving is coming up. And that can be a good time. It can also be a very stressful time because a lot of the time, especially for me, right? Family comes down that I only see at most twice a year, right? And it's rare that it's twice. So it's people you haven't seen in a while. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of things unsaid, and people are wanting to hang out and get things kind of like they want to have a year's worth of hanging out, of being together in maybe 3 or 4 days. That's the kind of energy I'm talking about here. And then everyone has that uncle that's just awkward. I do too. So don't think you're the only one. But it's just something that we can look at and something that we can focus on when it comes to celebration. Hi, Liz A. How are you doing? So, yeah, I'm going to be taking questions. Liz A. Liz A. It sounds like I'm saying Lizzie, but in a weird accent. Liz A. Kind of like Forrest Gump. Anyway. Yeah, I will be taking questions. I don't do free questions though. I do $10 a question. If that feels like something you're comfortable with, you can see how I work and then make a decision from there. But I get answers and I'm accurate. So if that's something you feel like doing, we can absolutely do that. I'm just doing the dailies right now. Okay, so then we have Magician and the Mirror. All right. Awesome. Yeah, my morning is good. Had to take our kitten to the vet to get her spayed, and I hate doing that. I hate having to drop off the fur baby to, get fixed, but kittens can get cancer, so you want to kind of fix that in the reproductive organs, or cats can get cancer. So it's important to get them fixed when we can. Anyway, Magician in the Mirror is a manifestation card. So we could be manifesting community, or we could be trying to manifest community. We could be trying to focus on a situation where more and more positive energy is coming up, okay? The passive income thing that we were talking about before, a woman holding a coin in reverse, we have to look at where we're spending money. If we want to make money, sometimes we have to spend money. A lot of times, depending on the kinds of investments that we're talking about, it's hard. It's hard for us to focus on kind of what's out there, what's going on. And a lot of times we'll put some money in something and it doesn't quite take off the way we want it to. But even small gains are going to be good for this. So if it seems like things are moving slowly, at least they're moving, right? So have that be something. I know we can get impatient. I personally invested in some cryptocurrency, right? I did this at the beginning of the year and it's taken off. It's going really well, but I'm not going to touch that money. I'm not going to touch it for at least, I hope she heals quick too. Thank you, Liz. That's very kind of you to say that. But I'm not going to touch any of that money, no matter how much it makes, for at least, I'm thinking at least 3 to 5 years. I'm leaving it in there. I'm letting it ride. And when we invest in some things, we just have to let go of the money. We just have to think it's not even there anymore. It's not even an option. But learn and look at what we're investing in, because that's going to help us more than anything. Let's look at these cards a little bit closer. Let's take a little bit tiny closer of a look here. See what we can find. Let me tint my fingers a little bit. Let me do this, and then let's look at. Let's do these cards. Okay, these cards are works of art, in my opinion. True Black Tarot. That's etched right there. The cardstock is really thick. They're hard to shuffle a little bit, but for you guys, I think for you guys, I can do that. I can shuffle for you. So let's try this out here. Let's see what we get. Okay, I said I would try and shuffle for you guys. That means I can fail sometimes, and that one was a fail. Let's push these cards up here. All right. Let's move these forward here. Liz, is this your first time on the channel? I don't think I've seen you before, but if I have and I forgot, I am sorry. But if it is your first time on the channel, again, welcome. I try to establish a sense of community here and kind of open communication. You know, like we can talk to each other. We can kind of do that. Hey, Nisha, how's it going? First time on the channel. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so Nisha, I'm doing the dailies now, but when the time does come, it's $10 a question, or three questions for 25. I can also do energy healing. I can also do, tarot, psychic, any of those kinds of things. But I don't do free questions. I'm just letting you guys know. But you'll get the information. You'll get the information you're looking for. Okay, so let's do this here and let's see what we got. We have, okay, and I'll show you guys these cards. Perfect. Okay, so let's look at these cards here. So, a woman holding a coin in reverse. Okay, we have got strength. Oh, we got two cards here. We have the strength card, and I mean, these cards are like stuck together. Here's the strength card. These are beautiful cards. Love these cards. Love that art style. And you'll notice there's a snake down there with strength, and you'll notice there is this person who I feel like they see the snake, but they're not bothered by it, because we're talking about the symbology of the snake, or the symbolic nature of the snake. The snake represents shedding its skin and having new things come in, right? That's the snake. That's the whole thing with the snake. It sheds its skin and it has new things coming in. It rhymes, right? And then we have the Hierophant right here. Woman holding a coin in reverse, Hierophant, and the Strength card, two major arcana. So guys, pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on here, because this is two major arcana, and this is focusing on allowing us to say, we've done things in a traditional way. That can be good. Doing things in a traditional way, investing, is what I'm feeling like this is talking about. If we invest in a traditional way, or maybe we're investing in something that seems a little too old school, sometimes those things can actually be really good. Those can be really good investments. But also what this can be saying, because the woman holding a coin is in reverse, is that we don't have a strength when it comes to financial things, or we don't have a strength when it comes to those kinds of things. So it's important for us to find what we resonate with, right? For me personally, I feel like if I have an interest in something, I try and learn as much as I can, but I learn it in bite-sized steps. If I say I want to learn about like cryptocurrency in one day, I want to learn everything I can about it in one day, I'm going to fail. I am going to fail, and I'm going to fail hard. And then, because I can be a perfectionist, I'm going to get mad at myself. I'm going to get mad at myself that I couldn't do it. So what I've learned to do is, no matter what it is we're trying to do in life, take small steps. Take small steps, sort of congratulate yourself with that, and then move on. Okay, don't stay too long on the congratulations, but don't not celebrate either. because learning in itself is its own reward. Okay, so then we have this card here. We have community. And then we have the Knight of Coins right here, okay? Beautiful card, right? So the Knight of Coins with community, again, the financial part. Knight of Coins, or the Knight of Pentacles, or the Knight of Discs. There's several different ways you can describe each one of these suits. But primarily, the Knight of Coins can be an extremist when it comes to money, but it can also show through community or through working through something, we can make money. We can make some gains here. And what this could mean to me when I'm looking at this is that if we're looking to invest, if we're looking to do anything like that, we can go to different groups. Like, I use Facebook as an example, but I'm sure there's many, many other ones, like on Reddit or on other places. There's like forums and sub forums where you can learn how to invest, and you can learn what to invest in. You can learn what seems to be a good option, and you can kind of go from there. But it's going to be slow paced. It's going to be very slow paced. That does not mean it's not moving, though. Again, I want you guys to understand that does not mean it's not moving. It just means it's moving slowly. And as humans, we would like things to be quick, right? Because we're only given so much time on this earth, and for some reason, hurrying through life and missing all the important moments seems to be something that people like to do. So with this, allow things to happen, and allow things to happen slowly. Because when things happen slowly, generally it's more organic, it's more sustainable. If things happen super fast, I don't know if you guys have heard this saying, but the fire that burns bright does not burn long, right? It's burning up its fuel source quickly, but a low flame, that's kind of what we're talking about. Okay, so let's move on to this, because this is a good one too. We have Magician in the Mirror, okay? I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a film called Harry Potter. I'm just kidding, I'm sure you have. But in Harry Potter, the first one, Harry goes into a, I think it's kind of like a library or like an attic kind of thing in Hogwarts, right? And he goes up and he sees this mirror. And in this mirror, his desires are shown. As he looks in the mirror, he sees himself standing there, and his desires are shown to him. And I view the same thing with this mirror. Our desires can be shown to us. Maybe we know what we want, but we don't know how to get it quite yet. So what we can do is we can manifest the way to get what we want. Sometimes we think of point A, and then we think of point, J, right? But there's several steps between those 2 points. So sometimes we need to manifest the way to make us able to manifest what we want. And manifesting, do you understand what I'm saying? It's like you're focusing on the background and bringing it to the foreground. You're focusing on bringing manifestation to the forefront so that things can continue to happen. A lot of times we want more money. We want love. We want, we want something, and we ask for it. And the universe likes to give us kind of these tests to see if we really do want the thing that we're asking for. And a lot of times it will test our patience. It will test our ability to kind of just be in the moment. That's going to be Venus. Hey, Venus Friday. So I'm doing my general dailies right now, and thank you guys for coming in and watching. Please, like this says, please remember to like and subscribe if you like what oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't do free questions. I do $10 a question or 3 questions for $25, but you can see how I work and then decide if that would be something you would want to do. It's your choice, guys. But I like to establish a sense of community and have that be here. So you feel that, Liz. Okay, so there's something here. So we need to focus on Yeah, thank you. Yes, Moon Honey, I am on I'm on earlier. I'm trying to see what times work best. These dailies, I think, are going to be something I try and do a little bit more of. But Magician in the Mirror. So when we're manifesting, we need to focus on the manifestation coming to us. And the way we can do this, the way we can manifest things in our life in a very, very quick way, a very rapid way, if we appreciate what we already have, the universe is going to give us more things that we appreciate. So you need to kind of have this mentality. Want what you already have. As soon as you start focusing on that, as soon as you start having that appreciation, the universe is going to give you more things to appreciate. If we focus on the negative, right? If we focus on things that we're not grateful for, the universe will give us more things to focus on that we're not going to be grateful for. And then here's another thing here, and I want to make this crystal clear because I've had people come on here and ask, how do I manifest? What can I do? Here's what we can do, okay? Instead of using statements, I want, okay? And I'll tell you why you don't want to use I want statements. Every time you say I want something, you say I want something, I want something, you're telling the universe you don't already have that thing. Every single time you say I want this, I want that, you are telling the universe that you're wanting it, but you don't have it. And so the universe is going to keep giving you situations where you want, an extra $1,000, and that's pretty easy for the universe to do, to keep throwing situations where you want something, but you don't actually have it. So that can be a block in the manifestation. I want. No, I have, or I am statements are going to be helpful. Even if it kind of feels like you're lying to yourself, the universe aligns itself better, again, with appreciation and with using I am or I have statements. This is also true in spell work, doing anything like that in the occult way. Use I want, I have instead of, not I want. Use I am or I have statements. Okay. All right, so underneath Magician in the Mirror, we have the Queen of Wands. Now, why am I showing you this card here? Why am I felt like I got kind of excited when I showed you this card because it's a passionate card. It's a very powerful card. And when we're talking about the Queen of Wands, we're talking about energy that's kind of like the sun. It's kind of like the sun's energy in the major arcana. It's a very powerful card. And because of its power, it's saying that we have something. We can manifest. We can do what we want to do, but we just need to focus on the way we're doing it. And another thing that's super important when we're talking about manifesting, we focus on the thing that we already have, okay? Because we were talking about that. We focus on the thing that we already have. We imagine ourselves in that scenario, what kind of joy and happiness it would bring. And when we imagine, that's bringing it closer to us. But then after we're done imagining, we let it go. And if possible, we don't think about it again. You can make a grand ritual of it. You can do whatever it is you need to do. But in order for the universe to grant you your wish, you have to let go of it first, okay? It's kind of like if I had something in my hand, right? It's a delicious big-ass cup of coffee that I have in my hand. I'm wanting coffee if you guys can't tell. But it's a big cup of coffee that I'm wanting in my hand. But the person that's going to give it to me doesn't let go of it. So I can't grab it and I can't drink it. I can't partake in that. And in a lot of ways, we put a stranglehold on the universe when we're constantly thinking of the things that we want, but we're not letting go of the intention. And letting go and having something come back, that's the whole thing. That's the ebb and flow of the universe and how manifestation works. We have to let go to get something back, okay? So that's something we can focus on. And depending on how much psychic or mental energy goes into your visualization, that's going to be how quickly things manifest, right? Okay, so any questions on that before we move on to some other stuff here? So if you guys have any questions on the manifestation process, anything you want to know that way, those are free. If you guys want to ask about the readings that I'm doing currently right now, please ask. But personal stuff, relationships or your finances or things like that, something that would only benefit you and not the community, that I do charge for. So you guys let me know here. Okay. All right. Very good cards here. Honestly, the woman holding the coin, that's the only one that's in reverse. So I don't see anything negative here. What I see is that there's something we need to learn. There's knowledge that we need to get. And the best place to do it is to sort of slowly immerse yourself in whatever it is you want to learn. Do what's called chunking, okay? It's where you take something, if you're wanting to learn a new skill, you take something and you take your time with it. instead of thinking you have to learn it all in one day. Okay, again, that's the perfectionistic mindset, thinking that we can learn a new skill that's possibly complex and we can learn it in a day. And then when we don't learn it, we get mad at ourselves. Perfectionism, and then we get upset with ourselves. So if you do that, I want you guys to realize that's kind of a form of self-sabotage. If we feel like we can accomplish something in one day, if it's learning a new skill, if it's learning a new language, I want you guys to look at it like it's an ongoing thing. When you decide to learn something new, it's ongoing. It's not going to be something you learn in one day. So that can be something that can take some pressure off of us. And a lot of us have, trauma. We have certain things where we felt like we had to perform, and we felt like we had to overperform for family or friends. And so that can be a situation where perfectionism came in. And so now it's time to take that out. It's time to unlearn the things that are no longer serving us. And I feel like this reading is kind of touching on that as well. Hey, Kelly, how are you doing? So if you want, Kelly, we can do $10 a question. We can do $25 for 3 questions. But if you just have a question, or you want to do like a general reading or something like that, we could do that for 10. Kind of go into stuff here. It depends on what you want to do. But that's what I'm getting, guys. So the daily is just going to be take your time. Take your time. There's no rush. Right? And humans we're just really good. We're just really good at feeling like we need to hurry. Feeling like we need to hurry. In fact, sometimes we're in such a hurry. It's like, hurry up and die, hurry up and die. But we're not stopping to live. We're not stopping to live our lives. Instead, we're focusing on the very next thing. Like, we've accomplished something, and then we're focusing on the next thing. We can't enjoy the moment because we're always thinking of the future. And that makes it so that we are taking life for granted. And that makes it so we can feel a sense of listlessness. We can feel a sense of like life is passing us by, and it's because we're not in the present moment. We're always thinking about the future. We're always worried about the future, or we're thinking about the past. And as I've said this before, okay, this is from Kung Fu Panda. Good movie. It's actually really good. I love the hell out of it. Jack Black as a panda is probably one of my favorite things. But in Kung Fu Panda, there is a turtle character, or a tortoise character, and he's talking to one of his students. And this person that he's talking to is always worried about things that are going to happen. They're always worried about what fate or destiny has in store. And this wise master says, yesterday, let me see if I can get this right. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. And today, let's see. Basically, and today is the present, and so it's a gift. Today is a gift, and so it's called the present, right? And so that's something that we can focus on, being in the moment. Okay, Kelly, thank you. Let me see here. Awesome. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much, Kelly. So let that be something. Take a breath, focus more on the moment, and especially if we're focusing on developing spiritual abilities. I've said this many, many times. We cannot rush developing spiritual abilities. We cannot. As soon as we start to rush, we start to make a bunch of mistakes, and they pile up. When we rush, okay, nothing good happens. Nothing good happens when we rush. And especially if we're developing a new ability or a new skill, rushing is just going to hurt us in the long run, because we're going to glaze over information, and we're not letting go. We're not letting the process take place. So I'm going to work on your reading right now, Kelly. And let's see what we can come up with here. So you guys get to see how I work with a client, and then you can kind of go with that. You guys can see how I work, and then decide if this is something you want to do as well. Okay, so let's get this going here. All right. Okay, so Kelly, what is it that you're wanting to talk about? And by the way, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. You tell me kind of what you're thinking of doing here, and then we can focus on that. I'm actually going to go get some water too, so if you guys want to just wait for 1 sec here, I'll be back with water, and Kelly, you type what it is you're wanting to do, and we can focus on that. So hold on, guys. All right, let's do this here. All right, so if you're wondering about this beautiful natural blue color, okay, if you squeeze enough blue raspberries, you eventually get this. It's basically electrolyte powder. It's good for electrolytes. I have no idea what those do, but they sound cool, right? Okay. Okay, so Kelly is wondering, my living situation, general reading, what's blocking my manifesting a new place to live? Okay, so let's do this. Let's use the energy oracle, and then we can use, where did I put those? Oh, they're right there. Of course they're right in front of me, right? They're everywhere except where I haven't looked. And then we'll use some of these too. These are the Fountain Tarot we'll focus on. So let's do this and see what we can come up with for Kelly. Okay. Okay, let's shuffle these up here. What's blocking Kelly's manifesting a new place to live? Okay. I'm actually going to do something here, Kelly, right before I do this reading. I'm going to do something really quick. Just because sometimes I have people come on, they donate, and then I have to tell them that these are actually my prices. So give me 1 second here to do something. Okay, so that's no. Give me 1 second, guys. Let's do it about like that. Okay. Might be a little too slow, but I think you guys kind of get the message here. That can just tell you the prices. So 3 questions, you do save a little bit of money. We spend a substantial amount of time talking, getting things going, and we can do some energy work in there as well. It's kind of like a small mini session of sort of everything that I can do. If you guys are looking for that. But let's do this here. The $10 one as well, we can do a little bit of a question if you have a smaller question. And then we can do some energy work to help you like release blocks as well. So if that's something you guys want to do, we can do that as well. Okay. What is blocking Kelly's manifesting a new place to live? Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so I'll show you these cards, Kelly. We have this card here. All of these are upright, so that's a good sign right there. We have victory, okay? So this to me, when I see this card, Kelly, it's telling me that possibly we need to celebrate the small victories, or we need to have something where we're kind of in alignment with ourselves, which I'm feeling like your energy when I'm not necessarily tapping into your energy now, but when I have in the past, it feels like you're working on regaining yourself. It feels like you're working on sort of putting the pieces back, if that makes any sense. And so with this, I feel like you've made it a long way. I feel like you're trying your best to look at things in a new light. So this is really good. This is really good because it's focusing on you being able to adapt and change. Is there still some things we would want? Is there still some things that we feel like we can do better? Of course, right? But that's the whole point of being human. So I see this as a good start. Victory being the first card, that's really good. And we'll get some more information too as we go through this. So I'm just letting you know the first card. The second card is this one. Man holding a coin. So when I look at the man holding a coin, I view of more of an active way of going out and getting income. So I'm wondering if maybe that's something that we struggle with. Maybe having a job or holding something down. There could be something where money could be maybe difficult for us to manifest, or it could be something that just doesn't feel like it flows very easy. But money, like anything else, money is an energy. Money is an energy source, and it can come in and it can go just as quickly. But it depends on how we think. What is our mentality about money, about the financial world? If our mentality is when we get money, we have to squeeze it so tight that we can turn a quarter into 25 pennies, you know, you've heard of a penny pincher. This is a quarter pincher, and it's anyway. But if that's what we're doing, is we're squeezing everything we have and we're not letting go, money then to us becomes a very scarce resource. When money is scarce, we act very different than if we think money can be abundant. And that can be a mentality we had growing up, where money could be something that was not easy to come by. And generally we learn that from our parents, right? We learn it from that kind of source. And so if we look at money as anything else, a financial source, right? That can be something we can use. It's kind of like if we look at money, sort of like how we would look at food or how we would look at something else. If we're fortunate enough to be able to eat, to be able to have that kind of thing going on, we can look at money as a fuel source. And usually we're always going to have fuel. We're always going to have something we can eat. We're always going to have something we can have and nourish ourselves with, hopefully. So this right here is kind of the same mentality. What's our mentality with finances, with money? Do we feel like it's difficult to make money? Do we feel like it's difficult to keep money? Do we feel like it's just difficult in the financial world in general, right? So that can be something that we're talking about here. This isn't in reverse though, but the way I'm seeing it is we're looking at the block to the manifestation that you're talking about. So how I'm reading it is what's blocking you. And there can be that we need to celebrate the present moment more, we need to celebrate ourselves more, and then we need to maybe reevaluate how we think about money and finances. What can we do to have a good financial mindset? Okay. And like I was saying, using terms like I have and I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am wise, things like that, that eventually becomes a mantra, and that the universe eventually starts giving us things that make that true, because we're saying a statement, and the universe, it doesn't want to make us liars. It wants to make us truth tellers. And so it gives us the things that we are asking for, right? But we have to adopt the mentality that things can be free flowing. If we restrict flow of anything, we're not going to be able to get it. It's like a kinked hose. A little bit of water comes out, it kind of dribbles out, but it's not anything that you could water your garden with. So have that be kind of the mentality here. We're watering the garden, we're watering the seed. Okay, and then I see this card right here. This is interesting because you're trying to find a new place to live. You're trying to find something here, and I get the I get the walking away card. Okay, and one of the things that I'm hearing, okay, and I'm actually going to write this down because I'm feeling like this is important for you, Kelly. Okay, I'm starting to connect with your energy. I hope that's okay. I know that it can be a little, sometimes I can feel a little aggressive. Hopefully it's okay if I connect with your energy. When I'm doing these readings, sometimes it just happens. So I'm just logging into, okay. So I'm feeling like your energy feels kind of like an orangish red. So we're working, and the reason why I say orangish red is because I feel like we're working on establishing our identity in the world and how we operate in it. So we're going back and we're looking at maybe core wounds, and we're addressing certain parts of ourselves so that we can move on. Now, orangish red, right? Why didn't I say orange, or why didn't I say red? Because these two chakras right now are linked together in a more, let's say, a more intimate way. So when we're talking about the root chakra, we're talking about identity, security, stability. When we're talking about the sacral chakra, which is the one right up above where the root chakra is, we're talking about choices. We're talking about choice and flow, going from one thing to another. It's about being adaptable. So I feel like right now your energy is working on having security and possibly being adaptable, which I feel like is very good. The first thing I heard, so I see walking away. Hey D, how are you doing, my friend? I see walking away right here. And then I'm hearing the words fade away as well. I'm hearing the words fade away. So when we're talking about walking away, we could be talking about, let me write this down. When we're talking about walking away, we're getting rid of the things that no longer serve us, but we need to understand what that looks like. What would it look like if things were flowing better for us, right? There's a lot of things that we do to, and I've been saying this a lot because it's a theme that keeps coming up. There's a lot of things we do that we can sabotage. Telling you, I can do this. There's a lot of things we do that can lead to us sabotaging ourselves, okay? Certain ways of thinking, certain ways of being, habits that we have, mental habits. There's these habits that come in and they tell us things that are not true, but we've believed we have believed they're true for so long. So the primary thing right here, I feel that's stopping you from finding a place to live is maybe there's a fear with finding yourself as being someone who's more independent. Maybe there's a fear with that. And not in a way that it's like you don't want it to happen, but in a way that if you did have freedom, if you were in a different place, what would you do? What would you do with that freedom? What would that look like? Kelly, being in a different place, being in a different spot. And sometimes there can be a fear of success. Sometimes there can be a fear of failure. But ultimately, those two fears are the fear of change. And sometimes we want these things to happen, but there ultimately is an underlying fear, and it could be resistance to change. It could be, what would that look like? And sometimes there can be a lot of change that happens rapidly. It happens quickly. We get overwhelmed, right? And that makes it hard for us to keep going in that direction because we're like, man, I don't like feeling overwhelmed. But the funny thing about it is, whenever there's change and we do feel overwhelmed for a second, eventually that becomes background noise. The change becomes the new normal. but we need to let ourselves experience the change first. And it's going to be uncomfortable. But any time we're uncomfortable in a situation that's changing or evolving or adapting, that means we're growing as people. So you can almost congratulate yourself for putting yourself out there, being a little more uncomfortable, but also taking risks, taking opportunities. And when I say taking risks, small risks. We need to build up our confidence and our self-esteem. And the way that we can build up our confidence and our self-esteem is to take small risks daily, to make small choices daily. Maybe things we would never have done before. Maybe, for instance, if we have a hard time talking to people in person, maybe we make it our goal to say hi to 3 people and see what happens. Eventually, if we've said hi to 3 people one day, maybe a month from now, we're saying hi to 4 people. We're saying hi to 5 people. And that sounds like a small goal, but those things, we start to build up confidence. The brain starts to see that, oh, I do this and the world doesn't end, right? But it's how we work on things and how we work on things in a small way. It doesn't have to be these big things. Tons of small changes, okay, over time can turn into huge, huge changes. But the small changes need to be acknowledged for being, a place we can say, I'm doing good. I'm doing okay. So Kelly, is that making sense so far? I feel like I've just been monologuing here, so I want to hear kind of what's going on with you. Okay, and Lisbeth, you're next. Thank you so much for the 3 questions. So I'll put you on the list here. But I'm still reading for Kelly here for a second, but you are the next person on my list, Liz, and thank you so much for helping to support the channel. Appreciate that. Okay. No, thank you. Thank you. I love that. I love that. You just came on here. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I really do appreciate that. So we're gonna do yours question next year. So let's do this. Okay. It is hard for me to write the money symbol. I'm trying to keep track of who's paid, right? I'm trying to keep track of different things so that I don't lose sight of anything. I don't know if you guys have had this. I've been forgetful to the point, and I do this a lot. I've been forgetful to the point that, like my glasses are off like this. I'm holding them in my hand. They're right in front of me. And I'll say, I wonder where my glasses are. And I'll literally do this. I'll be like lifting them up, be doing this. And then 5 minutes later, I realize I've been holding the damn things the whole time. Anyway, forgetfulness isn't good. Or, and then that reminds me of a story here. Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying. We get forgetful and it kind of sucks, right? Not kind of. It's bad. But I remember this one. Kelly, you are so welcome. You're so welcome. I just want you to know though, Kelly, that you're on the right path. We just need to take small steps. And the small steps lead to big results eventually. But I'm proud of you for what you've done so far. I feel like you're taking charge more and just slowly build up that sense of responsibility with yourself. And the more and more you slowly build that up, we establish stronger boundaries, we define ourselves more and more, and then we can put ourselves out in the world in a way that says, this is me, this is Kelly, and we can kind of put our stamp on it. So you're very welcome, Kelly. But I remember, one time, I had a teacher. He was a kind of like an electronics, like a computer teacher, right? He was an older guy. And I started talking to him about energy healing and stuff. This was like 16 years. Oh man, 16 years ago. Hold on. I can hear myself getting old. It sounds creaky. It's like a door slowly creaking open. Anyway, so my teacher was telling me he had these supplements in front of him. He had these pills, these supplements. I don't know how we got into what medications he was taking. I was a weird kid. But anyway, he takes his medications out and he's showing me, and it was funny because he's pointing to his pills and he's saying, "This one's for my back. This one's for my liver. You know, this one's for my glad bladder. Apparently, my gallbladder. I don't know what a gallbladder is, but you got to get it removed, whatever it is. Anyway." But then he points towards these two pills, and he's staring at them for a really long time, and he says, "This one's for my this one's for my," and he kept doing that. I mean, this was about, I don't know, 30, 45 seconds. It was getting uncomfortable, and then finally he says, "Memory. This one's for my memory." And I'm thinking, maybe you should increase the dose, you know, just a little bit. Anyway, I thought that was funny because, I mean, he was having a hard time remembering that his pills were for memory, right? And I don't even know, do you take a pill to remember your pill? I don't know. I have no idea what the hell you do in that situation. Anyway, Kelly says, "Indeed, thank you. I'm not running from source anymore." Awesome, Kelly. And that's the thing. When you embrace source, when you embrace that kind of feeling, so much can happen for us. And I ran from my source for a long time. I ran from source energy for a very long time. And finally, when I decided to look at it, when I decided to embrace it instead of run from it, things started happening for me. So you're taking the steps, and I'm proud of you for doing that. Okay, so Liz, would you want to tell me your question or questions? You can start by just the first question, and then the second and the third, or we can just do the first, and then when we're done with that, you can do the second and the third. So we're flexible here. We can do it many ways. Okay, awesome. Okay, that's a good question. Let's look at that and let's see what we can find for you, Liz. First thing I'm seeing, we're going to look at the cards too. Actually, I'm breaking my own rules here. I'm breaking my own rules. Everyone, I'm going to say this. Ask before you connect with someone's energy. Ask before you connect. It's polite to do. It's the equivalent of just walking into someone's house if we don't ask if we can connect with someone's energy. Okay? And most people aren't going to like it when you just walk into their house. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that, my friend. I'll do my best. I'll keep up this work here. So Liz, would it be okay if I connected with your energy? I had some stuff come in. I had some intuitive stuff come in, but I don't want to invade your energetic space. So that's why I'm asking. Okay, question 2. Okay, perfect. I like the way you're doing the questions. I like the style. It's very digestible for me. Awesome. Thank you so much, Liz. Okay, so first thing I'm seeing, you said, what advice do I need to hear right now? I feel like there's this sense of wanting to walk out the door, wanting to start your day, but your shoes are like chronically untied. So I feel like there's this sense, or maybe you feel like you're unprepared. You're unprepared for what's lying in front of you. You're unprepared for the things that life has to offer. I feel like this sense of being unprepared can feel kind of ambiguous. It can feel kind of like it's this mysterious source, but it feels like we're living our life and we feel like we're even doing the little things slightly off. We feel like it's harder for us to, and it possibly can be hard for us to feel like we're in our bodies at times, but I'm seeing the untied shoe as I'm leaving the house. And that to me is saying that we just don't feel like we're prepared, right? So you let me know, Liz, if that kind of makes sense to you, and we can go from there. Please, guys, let me know if it's making sense, because I can always try to connect again if for some reason my signals are crossed. And we can also do the cards as well. I just see if I'm getting some intuitive stuff, I'm going to do that. Yeah, so that's what I'm getting so far. Oh. And then question 3 is career advice. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, so all right. So you let me know if that's making sense so far. Yes, it feels that way, like I'm trying to keep up, but I feel off. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so trying to keep up, tying your shoes to keep up, having this sense of feeling prepared, feeling. So if we're not feeling like we're in our body, if we're feeling disconnected from our body, it's probably because parts of us are in the past, right? Parts of our mental energy are in the past, and parts of our mental energy are in the future. So we don't have any way to live in the present moment, because we're either thinking about the past, we're worried about the future. We can't change what's already happened. And like it or not, and I'm going to say this kind of in a way here, like it or not, we cannot change really what's going to happen in the future. In my personal opinion, as much as we try to prepare for certain things that are going to happen in the future, the universe always throws us a curveball, you know? And if you're a guy, it hits you in the unmentionables, and it's not good, okay? But that's what I'm talking about here. Life throws a curveball every damn time. You think you're prepared, and then it hits you in the butt, right? It hits you in the place you're not looking. And so that's what I'm talking about. If we focus on the present moment, if we focus on living in the present, that's going to help bring us into the now, and that's going to help ground ourselves in our bodies. And we can do that in a few ways. Awesome. I'm glad to hear this is resonating. So we can do that in a few ways, but primarily we need to make our body a safe place for us to be, a safe place for us to feel, a safe place for us to experience life. If we don't feel safe, the kind of spirit or the consciousness tries to escape. It tries to escape the vessel. It tries to not think about the present moment. So if we focus on what's causing the discomfort and we embrace it, over time, we're not running from ourselves anymore. We're not trying to say, we're focusing in the present moment and we're not running, okay? And the reason I keep saying we're not running is because it's vitally important. If we are not running from life, then we can run to it. We can embrace it, okay? But the thing that scares us, we need to turn around and we need to face. And this can be in small steps. This isn't something where you rip the Band-Aid off really quick, have a panic attack, and then feel super, super overwhelmed. That's not what I'm talking about. All of this happens in a gentle way. All of this happens in a gentle process. Okay, so let me take another drink here. Everyone, remember to drink your blues every day. All right, your blues and your greens. If you have plenty of those, you're going to be fine. All right, so let me see what else we can get here. I'm going to do this, okay? I know when you guys pay for a reading, you want to see cards, you want to see some different stuff. If I'm getting messages from spirit, if I'm getting messages in this way, I'm going to be talking about that, at least for a little bit. Okay, so as we're talking about this, when we're talking about focusing on the physical, all we need to do, Liz, is we need to focus on the moment. We need to immerse ourselves into the present moment. And the way we can do that, the way we can start to do that, is things that we're very interested in. We can sort of pepper those things out throughout the day. Because when we're really interested in something, we usually come back more into our body, and then we can have more of a creative flow, and then we can learn to let go of possibly the expectation of feeling like we're more in our body, feeling like we're more grounded. We can sort of just be in those moments. So things that we're interested in, it could be music that we're listening to, but something that sort of gently brings our attention to the present is going to be helpful. That's going to be helpful. And then as we experience life, and when I say experience, I'm talking about, I'm talking about tasting, I'm talking about the physical senses. When we start to taste the things we're tasting, hear the things we're hearing, see the things we're seeing, and we're in those present moments, we'll start to feel more anchored and more grounded in our body during that time. So primarily, this first question definitely is about, well, it's about how much my head itches, but no, this first question is definitely about focusing on being in the present as much as we can. And like I keep saying, a lot of us have this perfectionistic attitude. A lot of us have this thing of, it's like, if it's yes, basically go out and do the things I love. Absolutely. We need to do more of that. And Liz, if I can say this as well, sometimes we will put off self-gratification. We will put off doing things that we love because we feel like we don't deserve it. Or we feel like we need to focus on making sure everyone else is absolutely okay first, and then I can relax and I can do something I like. But I want you to take time for you, because you're the only you've got. As I've said before on this channel, you are with yourself 24/7. Wouldn't you want to be your own friend, right? So if we're holding off on gratification because it's just not the time, or it's not this, it's not that, make time for it, and have it be this gentle process of going into something, saying you're going to do something, and then doing it, relaxing, letting yourself experience things. Okay. So that's going to be something you can focus on. If we're not allowing ourselves to experience life and be grateful and be in the flow and be doing things that we like to do, then yeah, we're going to feel like we're out of our body. We're going to feel like life is kind of hazy. We're going to feel like the days blend together into this kind of continuous mush, because we're not doing anything to separate the doldrum, the mundane, from something that we actually enjoy doing. So if that's happening, if the days are rolling in together, and it feels like it's just one long continuous day, but there's sleep that happens intermittently, that's something we can do as well. We just need to focus on allowing things to come into our life and letting ourselves relax, letting ourselves be in the present moment. So that's going to be the first thing. That's going to answer the first question. Do you feel like that answers your question adequately, Liz? Okay. So this, and again, I'll address the second question here, but this takes time to adjust, to get into it. If you're still feeling this way in a little while, give yourself time, give yourself permission to change over a period of time. You're very welcome. You're very welcome, Liz. Let's look at the second question, okay? Don't know why I'm doing this. Maybe peace, peace out. Or whatever the hippies say nowadays. I don't know. I really don't. Okay, so let's look at this next question. So you said, healing from a breakup, what do I need to work on to attract better love? Oh, man. That, Liz, I'm giving you the thumbs up right here. I love that question. Because I get people coming on here and they say, is he coming back? Or are they coming back? And I feel that it's the most toxic relationship. I feel it's very toxic, but they're wanting the toxicity back. So this question here is gold. I love this question. Absolutely. Okay, so let's look at that question. What do we need to work on? I'm going to actually you're trying to do inner voice work. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so, and I've talked about this on my channel too. Yes, that's the only way to attract better, but we can also focus on some other stuff here too. So let's kind of dive right into things. Okay, so we've got let's give me a second here. Inner voice work is important, but we can't be upset. Because I've had this before. I've had this with myself. We can't be upset with ourselves if we're not gentle with ourselves. Okay, because sometimes I feel like we're likely to spiral, And when we're having a really difficult time, we'll tend to criticize the fact that we're having a difficult time, and then we'll criticize the way that we're criticizing the way that we're doing things. And so when that starts to happen, we just go gentler and gentler and gentler. We don't amp up the voice. We don't start screaming at ourselves. The only way we learn how to embody this is with a gentleness, right? A lot of us have learned a lot of us have learned things through tough love, okay? And when I say a lot of us have learned things through tough, you know what? I can't even say it, so what the hell? Tough love or tuft love. I don't know. My cat has a tuft on its belly, and I do love rubbing the tuft. No, tough love is soft hate, okay? If you think of it that way, we can work on changing the voice that's inside of us. Tough love is it's forcing things to happen. It's forcing this, it's forcing that. And it made us feel crazy when we were growing up. If we grew up in that kind of environment, get over it, have this, blah, 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 stuff your emotions down, things like that. So we need to go back and we need to unlearn these things that we've learned. The illiterate in today's age will not be those that cannot read. It will be those that cannot unlearn the things that we have learned growing up. So let that sink in, because to me, that's a powerful saying. I can't remember who said that, but it makes a ton of sense. Okay. So if we're talking about healing from a breakup, you're wanting to attract better love, we need to go back to the areas of how we think about love. First thing we can do is we can look at attachment styles. I mean, if you want to go into that, we can look at attachment styles. I'm not super in depth with that kind of stuff. So instead, I'll just ask you a series of questions, and then you can kind of interact with me and let me know kind of what's going on with you. So depending on how we grew up, there's three primary ways that we can grow up, and that can determine what we think love is when we get older. Okay? And I'm saying what we think love is instead of what love actually is, because a lot of us have a skewed perception on what we think love is. And we choose partners that trigger us. We choose partners that trigger a trauma response, and we call that love, okay? So that's what we're talking about here. When we're talking about attracting better love, when we're talking about attracting a better person, it's understanding what it is that we need to fix or change in ourselves, okay? All right, so first thing, Liz, growing up, you as a child, right? Would you say your parents were overcritical and like surrounding you all the time, and you didn't feel like you had moments to yourself? Or would you say things felt more lax to the point of like there was no interest in you growing up, like your parents just had you in the background and they weren't necessarily interested in you unless something negative was going on, in which case they would reprimand? I'm just curious that the parenting style you grew up with here, because that's going to tell us a lot about how we view love and relationships. And maybe that's a personal question, but there's a reason for it, I promise. Okay, which one is the yes? The first one we talked about, or the second one? Okay, so if they were overcritical or they were like hypercritical of us, that's where we had the voice. That's when we had the voice with okay. That's when we had the voice of perfectionism. Hey, Aqua Envy, how are you doing? And when we have the voice of perfectionism in our heads, oh no, you're okay, Liz. Please feel free to ask. Please feel free to ask me as we're going along. I don't mind repeating myself, okay? So I said this. So the first one was parents were too overbearing, hypercritical helicopter parents, right? But the second one was there could be neglect. There could be a feeling of them leaving you in the corner to do your own thing, and you weren't supervised, right? I grew up with the second one. That was me. I grew up with the neglect part. And so when we grow up with, no matter what it is we grew up with, that paints our love. That paints how we view love. That paints how we view relationships. And a lot of times, well, actually, almost every time, we see love or what we think is love from our parents. And we see how they interact with each other. And if they're interacting in a dysfunctional way, then we will adopt a dysfunctional love pattern, right? We will think that that's love when it's not. So to attract a better partner, we need to focus on what we think love is and what we think love isn't. So conditional love, okay? Conditional love is I love you if, all right? Okay? Conditional love is I love you if. Unconditional love is I love you. Okay? As simple as that. If we have a situation where it's I love you if you do this, I love you if you do that, I love you if you're a straight A student, I love you if you take care of me. Awesome, Aqua Envy. Okay, perfect. You're on the list. You're after Liz, who I'm reading right now. Okay. And thank you so much, Aqua. I appreciate that. I did see your real name. I'm just still going to call you Aqua, just in case you want to have that be, you know, between me and you, because some people like to have the anonymity. So, that's kind of what we're talking about. I love you if is conditional, and that will teach us to always in a relationship, always be putting in 99% of the work. We're breaking our back. We are doing everything we can to keep the relationship going. And eventually we burn out and we will start to feel resentful to our partner because we're putting in so much effort. We're putting in so much time and they're hardly doing anything. Okay? And that establishes the dynamic where we don't feel appreciated. That's how it felt with my ex. Okay. So, how do we change this way of thinking? How do we change this way of thinking? We focus on setting boundaries. We focus on defining the self. And this is actually going to help you with question 1. This is going to help you get back into your body. Every time we set a boundary with ourselves and we say what we want and what we don't want out of life, we're letting the universe know the people we want to attract, the people that we want to have in our life. A lot of times, like I said, our parents teach us dysfunctional love styles in a lot of ways. And because of that, we grow up and we're trying to attract someone. We're trying to attract someone to us. And the person that we get attracted to, they are very similar to our parents, almost eerily similar to our parents. And the way we learned how to love, they trigger the trauma response. We view it as love, right? That's the dysfunction I'm talking about. Now, what can we do? Boundaries is one of them. Seeing red flags for what they are. In fact, this is going to be important. So I give this kind of information because a lot of people have been involved with narcissistic abuse and things that relate to that. If you look up, there's videos on YouTube that talk about narcissistic abuse and how to spot the red flags. That's going to be hugely important for you moving forward because a lot of those videos talk about how to set boundaries with people that are narcissistic. A lot of those videos talk about what the red flags actually look like. For instance, you get in a relationship, things are going great. And, you know, at first, right, we have rose-colored glasses. We look at that relationship like the person is damn near faultless, you know, the romanticism bullshit kind of stuff. And I'll tell you why I said romanticism bullshit here in a second. But we look at that. We look at that person like they're perfect in those moments. But then the mask can start to slip. And what that looks like is someone that's incredibly controlling. Someone who starts in the relationship, they're very, like at first, they seem okay, but then they start controlling you. And sometimes it can start in subtle ways, but eventually that starts to erode your confidence because someone is controlling and manipulating you. But generally it starts out slow and then it amps its way up. If you feel like anyone's trying to do that, then we can set boundaries. We can say, you know what, I don't appreciate that. And then what's interesting with this, what's interesting when we set a boundary, and they can be small boundaries at first. They can be small boundaries at first that you're setting. But what's interesting when we set a boundary is that we see how the person is. When you set a boundary, you're going to see. You are going to see if someone is an asshole. You're going to see right away how that person reacts. Because as soon as you say, no, I don't appreciate that, they're either going to blow up and get angry. Maybe they'll get upset for a second and then be fine. Or they'll say, okay, I'm sorry. Right? And you'll get to know their character right then and there. That's why boundaries are so important. If we don't establish boundaries, even good people in bad relationships, if you don't establish boundaries, people will take advantage of you. They will. Even good people will take advantage of you if you don't establish boundaries, because you're making it seem like you can do everything yourself. So, a boundary can be as simple as if someone asks you a question, you can literally say, I don't feel like talking about that. That's a boundary, right? If you don't want to talk about it, you don't want to talk about it. They would blow up and get aggressive. Absolutely. And when they blow up and get aggressive, your role in that situation was to quiet down and be very timid. And if you didn't, then they would get more upset, because it's a cycle. It's kind of a cycle. And when they get more upset, then it becomes a power dynamic where they're on top, you're below them, and that's kind of the whole dynamic. And as long as that dynamic exists, things are quote unquote okay. They're not. But the narcissist thinks, okay, you're in your place. I can kind of let things go. But as soon as you start to show any signs of independence, any signs of creativity, any signs of doing something for yourself, they can feel incredibly threatened by that. And I'll tell you right now, it's not your job to fix it. That's bullshit that they need to fix with them. But again, narcissistic people do not see their own bullshit. And that's another thing that I'm going to say too. Do not, and I repeat this because it feels good in the moment. It feels like it's the right thing to do. Do not, if you're out of a narcissistic relationship with family, friends, whatever it happens to be, don't bring it up. Do not try to blame them. Do not try to do anything. The reason why is because you're going to play back into the game. And that's what they want you to do. Imagine it like this. As soon as you blame them for something, or as soon as you try to do something, imagine like a little snide smile, because they want you to interact in that way. They want you to get upset, because when you're upset about something they have done to you, it shows that you care. And as soon as they do that, they can siphon energy from you. The best thing to do is to be neutral as possible. Don't give them any emotional feedback. Don't let them know that they've gotten under your skin, and don't bring up past instances of their narcissistic abuse, because that's playing back into the trap that we're talking about here, and we're trying to prevent that. Okay, do you feel like that helps answer that question, Liz? It's all about self-love at the end of the day. When we love ourselves, we know what it feels like to be disrespected. And when we feel disrespected, we say, okay, that person's not for me. But until we know what that voice looks like, until we know what the boundary looks like, we're going to feel like we're undefined, okay? And a lot of us, I'm going to say this too, I know I'm a yacker, but a lot of us are empaths. And a lot of empaths do not have a strongly defined self-core. The reason why is because they have been used to their whole lives taking on other people's emotions and expressing them. So how could they understand their own identity when they've been expressing other people's emotions, right? So the empath's first thing that they can do to have a strong self-core, to have a strong self-identity, is for them to set boundaries. And generally for empathic people, that is very difficult to do, especially at first, but it can be done. It just takes time and it takes persistence. Okay, and again, that gentleness that we talked about. Okay. All right, so let's move on to, hopefully that answers that question. And let's move on to number 3, your third question. And I'm gonna be right back, you guys. I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. When you drink the blue, you have to, you have to go. All right, so I'll be right back, and we'll address your last question, okay, Liz? Okay, so let's move on to question number 3, and then we're going to go to Aqua's question. So question number 3 for Liz. Let's do this here. Career advice. Okay. So let me do this. Let me get comfortable here. All right, so career advice. So I'm gonna attempt something here. I'm tuned into your energy. I'm gonna try and feel, possibly, what vocation, what kind of job you could have, just to see, right? This isn't something I usually do, but it's a way for me to practice. And by the way, this is all practice. No way am I professional. I'm just practicing. Trying my best. Okay, so let's do this here. So my hand already is starting to itch. So this to me is saying we could be in a job where we're wanting to receive more money. Maybe we're wanting to have a raise for something. I'm wondering if it's is it between 1 to 3 years? Have you worked at the same place? I feel like maybe that's not the case, but there's something here where we're wanting more money. We're wanting more of, we want to be appreciated more for what we're doing. And for some reason, and you let me know if I'm right or if I'm wrong. Liz, if you wouldn't mind. I'm going to take a drink again. Current career for about 3 years. Yeah, okay. So, for some reason, I'm getting 2 things. I feel like there's something to do with finances, more money, and a certification. Okay. So, I feel like there's something to do with finances, possibly that you work with, or for some reason, I don't know if you're someone who really loves animals, and maybe there's a job that does something with animals. I'm not sure, but it was either like finances or something with animals, so I'm not sure if either of those fields make sense, but that was what I got. And if both of those are wrong, that is okay with me. Just because, again, I'm practicing here, so. Or possibly my current organization doesn't offer it, but I do have an interview with another organization who will give me that certification. Okay, so we're feeling like possibly this other, okay, direction is the main thing that I heard from Spirit just now. Direction, being head on, being direct. So actually having a direction, actually being head on, being direct in what it is that we want. And you feel like this other company would be that. Oh, Aqua, awesome. Awesome. We're almost on to you. This is Liz's last question. And right after that, well, hold on here. Lemon and coffee, isn't that a sin? That to me sounds like one of the sins. You know, God said no lemon in coffee. That sounds interesting. I'll give you that much. But yeah, and then okay, so there's working in the medical. Okay. So, and I'm wondering, Liz, I'm wondering if there's pain. I'm wondering if you experience pain on your lower right side. Like right here, if that's something you experience. Because that's what I was feeling as I was focusing on this. Obviously this is mentally taxing. So I'm feeling like you, in a way, have made up your mind on what you want to do. This new organization sounds like they will get you what you need to have, but starting over can be difficult. So that can be something that can be kind of an interesting concept. Hold on, let me do this here. Okay. Sorry, my phone's going off here. Back pain, yeah, at times. It's a detox, makes you go, okay, I understand. I understand things that make you go. I can understand that. I've tried some other things in my past. I don't know why I'm talking about this. Okay. Anyway, so let's do this. So again, we're having this kind of sensation here. I feel like you know what you want to do. I'm going to draw some cards to answer this part of the question, just so that we get something out of this, so that we can understand it. So let's look at this. So let's look at both of the options, Liz. Let's look at staying with, let's call it the place you're at now. Let's call that job A, okay? And the place that you could go is going to be job B, all right? So let's do that. And then I can understand things a little bit better here. Hold on. Okay. Shuffle here a couple more times. Okay, so job A, we get this card. Wow. That makes so much sense. Job A, door to value in reverse. Literally, door to value in reverse. You don't feel like you're being valued, and that's literally what we're talking about. Lack of appreciation. Or you feel like there could be a couple things going on here. One, we feel like we're not being appreciated. Good, I like the confidence. That's awesome. So, yeah, Tree, Super Chat is available if you want to do that. We can definitely do that. So hold on. So either job A, we're directly feeling like the company doesn't care about us, or maybe there's so many people, or there's kind of this kind of rush around where it's hard to get one-on-one time, or it's hard to talk about things that need to be talked about, or there's kind of like a rush kind of scenario. That could be something too, but definitely job A, we're not feeling like it's a good fit, at least at this point in time. Let's look at job B and see what we get. Oh man, look at that. Job B, woman holding a coin. Right there. I don't even need to go any further. I don't. I feel like job B is going to be the one for ye, right? If we're doing pirate speak. No, if job B seems like the one, is what I'm looking at here. So, oh, I got a new subscriber. Tree, awesome. Thank you. Thank you guys, I appreciate that. And for other people out there, like and subscribe if you guys wouldn't mind. I would appreciate it. But yeah, so that's what I'm getting here, Liz, is that job B seems like either they have the resources or the staff to understand people. It feels like there's a better program. It feels like people are better equipped to handle things with job B. It feels more professional, but it also in a way feels more relaxed in kind of how they treat people. So it just feels better. It just feels better in my opinion. Hopefully that helps answer that question. Moving forward, I'm feeling like job B. Just keep your wits about you during the interview, and I think you'll do just fine. Hopefully that helps to address all of your questions, Liz. And thank you again for just coming on here and being a huge supporter of the channel. I really appreciate that. Hold on one second. I had a weird phone call. Yes, job B is Stanford Health, LOL. Okay, makes sense. That makes sense then. I just had someone leave me a voicemail message, and literally the only thing they said was okay. And that was it. So, I don't even know what to make of that. That's the most neutral phone message, like answering machine message I've ever gotten. Someone just being like, okay. Anyway, you are so welcome. You are so welcome, Liz. And I appreciate you supporting the channel. And I'm going to do this too. So, Tree, I'm going to put you on. I'm going to put you on the list here. You're going to be after Aqua Emmy. I thought it was Aqua Envy for a second. So let me go here. And Aqua, did you ask your question? I don't think you did, but you can feel free to ask your question now. Let's do this. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. And thank you again, Tree, for the donation. You are right. Yeah, you're right after Aqua Emmy. Let me see here. Hold on, buddy. I know you're. We do this every now and again. Yeah. Yoshi, buddy. All right, hold on one second here. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so let me do this here. And Tree is right after this. So these next readings will be a little bit quicker for people that are wanting to get in line. I took my time with Liz's reading because that was 3 questions, right? No, not yet. But what does my cousin Jenny have to say about me right now? All right, so let's do that. Just write this down here. Okay. Let me take these cards here. And I'm just going to shuffle. These are the Energy Oracle cards. If I need to, I can do more. Okay, if I need to, I can use some other tarot cards, but I'm going to use these Energy Oracle here. I felt like I was getting a message about something. I feel like with Jenny, or possibly with you, hopefully it's okay if I connect with your energy. Apparently I'm just doing that. I'm sorry if that feels invasive. But you're asking a question, so I would assume it's okay. I feel like there's like a strong letter D, maybe an initial or something. Maybe Jenny, there's something here with, it feels like someone named Derek, or it feels like someone Darren, or it feels like there's something there. I'm not sure, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we're going to look at the cards anyway and see what we can do. Still learning with the intuitive side. So if that's not right, that is okay. I can be a big boy. I can be a big boy and I'll be fine. All right, so let's do this here for Aqua Emmy. What does Aqua Emmy's cousin Jenny have to say about her right now? Okay. So what does Aqua Emmy's cousin have to say about her right Okay, so something big must have happened because I'm getting Healer of the Ages in reverse and fourth chakra, Archangel Raphael in reverse. So something, I'm assuming there's a fallout. There was a fallout or an argument, maybe. Or there could just be no contact, but it feels like there was something that led to this. And when I see these two cards right next to each other, it feels like it was kind of a big deal to focus on this. So I would say right now, probably nothing good, right? Probably nothing that is logical. Maybe this person is acting in a way kind of like a, maybe like a cornered animal where they can be irrational or they can be focusing on just the negatives of the situation rather than trying to see it for what it actually is. But that to me feels like what's going on with this person. Is your cousin, is this making sense, Aqua? Oh, okay. Hey Elizabeth, how are you doing? Okay. Yes, it is making sense. You're right. Okay. So that's kind of what I'm feeling here. But so ultimately, her not having anything good to say, kind of this irrational nature, aggressive, maybe even some narcissistic tendencies or something here. I'm hearing the words like selfish. There's something here where this person is, if this person isn't right, then you're wrong, or something along those lines. This person, I mean, not taking advice would be one thing, but this person flat out just being kind of nasty in the, yeah, that's what I'm feeling here. I'm glad you're clearing out what doesn't serve you, Elizabeth, and that's a good way to look at it. That's definitely silver lining, right? That's a silver lining to see that you're getting rid of the things that are no longer resonating with you. That's awesome. So that can be difficult though, and I'm sorry that's happening, but again, we get rid of things and then new things can come in. New things can take their place. It just takes time to build up the stuff. It seems negative at first. But... So, yeah, Aqua, there's not a lot here that's saying that you're I'm not feeling that the anything this person has to say would be anything you'd want to hear, because it feels like the person is coming from a place of just like anger and like trying to hurt you or trying to bring you down. It doesn't feel like this person's making sense. In fact, I feel like the more angry this person gets, the less sense they make. And then you're looking at them and you're like, what does that mean? You know? That's kind of the situation I'm seeing here. And this person tends to get off the handle, angry. Yep. Okay. All right. So that makes sense. That makes sense what we're seeing here. So we've talked about it on the channel before, but the narcissistic people, which is what this sounds like, the best thing you can do is to be neutral, to be absolutely neutral. When if for some reason you have to be around this person, it's a family reunion or something's going on, don't give this person emotional input of any kind. And don't tell them about your dreams of the future. Don't tell them what's going on in your life. Keep it so surface that it's like you're talking to a stranger. And the thing with talking to a stranger is we don't get emotionally involved when we're talking to a stranger, usually. And that's how you need to be with this. The more emotion you put into a relationship with the narcissistic person, they will drain you. They will absolutely take everything you've got. So it's, in my opinion, it's best to be completely neutral. Because then they can't take anything from you. If they're looking for that supply to feed on, which is what narcissists do, if they can't find it from you, they'll just go to someone else. And it's unfortunate that they do that, but they're like the Walking Dead, right? And when a narcissist becomes a zombie, you know, in The Walking Dead, you don't turn back from a zombie. You don't like, one day the zombie's like, you know what, I shouldn't eat people. That doesn't happen. You know, imagining an AA meeting for zombies, that I wouldn't think that'd go over well. But that's what I'm seeing here. So does that help answer your question? I mean, because staying away would be an understatement on what I would do from this energy. These two cards in reverse, Healer of the Ages and the Archangel, there's no heart here. There's no help here. There's nothing that this person can offer you other than pain, right? And they'll expect you to thank them for it. So there's that. That's what I'm feeling here. So hopefully that helps to answer that question. And so we can move on here to Tree, if we can do that here. And you already asked your question, Tree. Will Caleb reach out or respond to my message? We are currently not communicating. So again, Aqua, hopefully it makes sense. You know, yeah, I've dealt with people like that. And there's no rationality. There's no way you can talk to them like they're normal people. In a lot of ways, when a narcissist is wounded, you have to talk to them like they're a baby, like they are a tiny little baby. But you can't do it in a condescending way. No, you almost have to like bow down, kiss their ass, and have that be kind of the result. And they'll even be upset at how you kiss their ass. Maybe your lips weren't puckered enough, right? Maybe you could do on the butt. That's what I'm talking about here. There's no pleasing these people. Okay, you sent PayPal. Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, so Tree, I'm going to do your question, and then let me see here. Wow, thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, so we're definitely going to do... Okay, we're going to do 3 questions for you, so I'll do this. Okay. Okay, so let me do this here. Hold on. Okay, so we've got... Like I said, look up people, Aqua. Look up people that deal with narcissistic abuse and those kinds of things. If you understand that this is not a one-off phenomena, and you understand that narcissists are actually incredibly predictable in how they act, you can start to see the behavior patterns. You're welcome, Aqua. Okay, so I'm going to do this here. And we're on to Tree. Thank you for your patience, Tree. I appreciate that. He thinks I'm talking to someone else because I miscommunicated and didn't tell him up front. There was no one. I just isolated and told him I wasn't talking to anyone, but he won't read my message. Okay, so let's see what's going on there. And then, so after Tree, we can do your reading, Elizabeth, okay? And thank you again. I really appreciate that. Okay, so. Okay, so he is spying on me and still follows my social. Of course he does, right? He's in a place now, Tree, and I'll look at this, but he's in a place now where he's kind of non-committed, but he's still angry and he still wants to have like a possession over you, right? That's what I'm feeling. So of course he's going to keep you on the line. He's going to keep you in that kind of place. If he's spying on you and if he can look at you from afar, there's like a non-committal kind of attitude. He still gets the benefit of being there in some way, but he doesn't have to interact necessarily or interact physically. Okay, so let's look at what the cards will say here. So we'll use the energy oracle here. Will Caleb look at his messages here? Let's see. And I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to answer your question, Tree. So let me do this. But I'm going to just do this. I'm going to answer your question and Elizabeth's question, but I'm doing this right here. Okay? So don't think this applies to you guys. This is just so no one else comes in. Would he reply to mess? Okay, let's look at that and see what we can find. Let me do this here. Respond. Okay, respond. Okay. There we go. Okay. Like I said, this is for other people coming in here. I'm still going to read your guys' questions. Okay, so would he respond to the messages? Let's see what the cards have to say. Just to clarify it because I reached out. Okay. Nothing wrong with clarifying. It helps us. It helps us to understand things. Right? So let's see what we can find here. Okay, let's do two more. Let's do three more shuffles. And okay, two more shuffles. Well, let's do it right now. Okay. All right, so will Caleb respond to Tree's messages? Okay, so that's pretty cut and dry. This is a card that says broken heart right there. So I'm feeling like this person right here, I'm not feeling like this person is a good guy, right? I'm feeling like there's something going on here where this person is acting like an entitled man baby, to put it simply. If there is a response, and I'm not feeling like there's going to be one, but if there is a response, it's not going to be a good one. And what I feel like is going to happen is Caleb is waiting. In my opinion, Caleb is waiting until you're begging him. You're on your knees, you're begging him to get some communication. And he's going to love that. That's what I'm feeling here. It's a power play. So he's giving you the silent treatment. And when he gives you the silent treatment, you're going to cave and say you're sorry over something that was a misunderstanding in the first place. You shouldn't have to apologize over a misunderstanding. In fact, he, in a normal, healthy relationship, he should be reaching out to you. He should be reaching out to you and saying, you know what? I misunderstood. I'm sorry. I had a bad day, this or that. But this person doesn't know how to communicate. And so instead they act like a child. And so I'd say treat them like one. Let them sit in timeout, right? He thinks he's punishing you by not talking, but really it's a relief, because why would you want to be around that anyway? Sorry, I get a little amped up when we're talking about people that are just that disrespectful. So you deserve better than that. But a lot of times we attract people, like I was saying earlier, depending on how we were raised and how we grow up, we will attract people that trigger trauma responses in us because we feel like that's what love is. And eventually we can work on that and make it so these kinds of people don't appear in our life. But it does take time and it does take effort. So for right now, Tree, I'm feeling like Yeah. If I do that, would they reach out? I feel. Hey, Bradley. Okay, so let me do this here. This will hopefully be the last question, because as it says here, and I appreciate the donation, and I will answer your question, but as it says here, no more questions, stream is ending. But I do appreciate the donation, so let me do that here. Okay, you feel they'll act like a child if you leave it, but they're already acting like a child. The behavior of acting like a child is them doing this right now. This right here, this pouting, stonewalling bullshit, this right here, this is acting like a child. They're not communicating with you. They're expecting you to kind of grovel at their feet, and then they might look at you. They might give you attention. So that can be something. I'm just saying, I know these can be difficult situations. I'm not trying to discount what you're going through, but I feel like you deserve so much better than someone who's going to treat you so disrespectfully. So that's what I'm feeling here. And yeah. Bradley, yes, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, my friend. So I'll put you on the list here. Hopefully, Tree, that helps in some way. I know it's difficult to go through these kinds of things, but you'll find that a lot of people in your life, they show you how valuable you are to them through their actions. And through that, we can learn to attract the right kind of people. It takes time and it takes practice. Okay. All right, Elizabeth, would you mind asking your questions? I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. Just really quick. So I'm going to move a little quicker through these questions. I'm going to spend time. I'm going to make sure. Yes, hold on. Yes, that's why I stepped away in the first place, but because I step away, he will beg for my attention. That's okay. And again, Tree, that's hot and cold. That's someone who, when you're not paying attention, they want you, and when you are paying attention, they step back. That's someone playing mind games with you. You don't need that in your life. That's not the way to be an adult. You're welcome, Tree. Told my best guy friend that we were just going to stay friends, and I felt my romantic feelings would be better elsewhere because of a boundary he crossed yesterday. How does he feel about this? Okay, so let me go to the bathroom real quick. I'll come back. I'm going to move a little bit quicker through these questions. I have to go somewhere by close to 1. So hopefully you guys understand if I'm moving a little bit quicker. So let me go. I'll be right back and we'll address your questions. Okay, we have a little bit of extra time. I'm still gonna hurry. I'm still gonna try and make it so you guys feel heard, you guys feel seen, you guys feel validated, and you guys get messages that are personal to you and accurate. But I'm gonna try and hurry it along just a little bit. Have to pick our kitten up from the vet, and so. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so let's look at the cards here. Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, so okay. Let's do this then. So, Elizabeth, let's see what the cards have to say here. Question 1, told my best guy friend that we are just going to stay friends, and I felt my romantic feelings would be better elsewhere because of a boundary he crossed yesterday. How does he feel about this? For context, he said he felt like pushing my buttons. For context, he said he felt like pushing my buttons in a time where I came to him vulnerable. I told him not to because it would hurt me, and then he did and said I gave him that power to hurt me, but I didn't. Okay. I don't even need to look at the cards for this one. I would say even though there's history here, even though there's this kind of history, 9 years is a long time to know someone, but in that instance that happened right there, you got to see a true side of this person. You got to see a true self. You got a glimpse of it. And if you were to be in a relationship with this person in times that were dire or you needed this person, this is how they would treat you. You came to them vulnerable. You said, please don't. And then they still did. Right. And so to me, that is saying that this person, even if they had a bad day, even if they were that kind of person, they had a bad day, whatever, you told them what not to do and they purposefully did it. So to me, no, I don't believe that should be a connection that you keep. And I understand that it's, I understand there's history, but think of it this way, Elizabeth. Would you ever do that to someone else? Would you do that to somebody? If they specifically told you not to do something because you were vulnerable, because you were in a space that needed sensitivity, and then they did it anyway willingly, I don't think you would. I don't think you'd be that way. I don't think you'd be that way. You just let me know. And I understand, right, you wouldn't. Perfect. Sometimes people can be insensitive. That's true. But you specifically said what was going on. And then they still didn't listen. It went out the window. So if that's them kind of showing you how they are, and regardless of whatever they've been through, everyone has trauma, everyone has things like that. You've been through a lot too, but you wouldn't do that to someone. So think of it that way. People can have trauma, people can be hurt, but the way they act. He knows I have clinical depression and has sent me into a suicidal spiral. I feel hurt, but I need to keep going. See, and that's another thing. He's a trusted source. He's a trusted source for you. So for that to happen, I can understand why that would be something that is painful. And maybe you even wanted me to say, good, I'm glad you're going to see your therapist soon. That's going to be good. And maybe you were wanting me to say, oh, you know, people do stupid shit sometimes. They do, But when you have a history with someone, like 9 years, you didn't know this person for 3 or 4 days. Um, do you know what I'm saying? It's something where, and I know cutting off people, cutting off certain situations, it doesn't feel good, but eventually things get better. And maybe the way these people are was actually holding you back in some capacity. So it's something we could see, you know. Um, does that does that help answer that question, Elizabeth? Again, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that's a situation you're going through, but I appreciate you coming on here and telling me what's going on, and then we can look at some solutions together. Okay. The last friend you cut off, you knew for 8, and I remember you tell. I think I remember you telling me that one. I want you to think of it like this, okay? Those people, okay? 8, 9 years ago, you were a very, very different person. And sometimes when we're younger, we choose friends out of insecurity, or we choose friends that are overly domineering. We choose friends that can be very, very aggressive because maybe we lack that, and we view them as like better than us in some way. But then when we get older and those friends stay the same or even get worse, but we're trying to change and we're trying to evolve, that's when it's time to cut it off. Because we're trying to do something good for ourselves. We're trying to change. We're trying to stay, um, you know, spiritually active, I guess you could call it. And these people aren't evolving or adapting. Like I said, sometimes they get worse. And it's not your job to try and fix it. And I think you know that, but I'm just saying that. So yeah, to be completely honest, right? If I can be completely honest, everyone from my past that I was friends with, I'm no longer friends with because there's a lot of toxic stuff. And I I was in a toxic place when I made those friends. So it's okay. It's okay to say, you know what, I'm doing this for me. And in a way, eventually in time, it becomes a relief and a release for us to sort of set ourselves free, because then we get to define ourselves in a new way. We get to focus on that. Okay, so let me see here. So question 2, why did he act like that? Okay, question 3, was this just a human moment on his part? Okay, so I feel like we answered question 1 and 3. So let's go and answer question 2. Why did he do this? And let's see what we can find. Of course, and of course you're heartbroken. Of course you're hurt, right? That should be, yeah, allow yourself to feel that, which it sounds like you are. That's good. But some people, they're in a very, very dark room. And when you come in with a light, they're blinded. They have a hard time seeing you for what you are. And they'll tell you to tone down your light. They'll tell you to turn down your light because their sense of safety in darkness is all they've known. And in that situation, you get to shine your light elsewhere. You get to do your thing elsewhere with people that will see your light and respect it and appreciate it. So hopefully that kind of puts that into context. But let's see. So why did Elizabeth's friend do this? What was the context? What was the reason? Okay. Let's do this here. Okay. So here's what I'm seeing here. I get these 2 cards. I get Victory and I get Angel of Strength in reverse. This person, okay, hold on. This person, the moment when they said this, they were trying to, and they weren't doing this in a good way. In fact, there's so many ways you can do this, and they chose the way that hurt. They chose the way that did not make sense. They wanted to, I feel like, toughen you up. I feel like they wanted you to just snap out of it in that instance. They wanted to toughen you up, and they felt like doing what they did would help with that. It didn't, right? So it was someone, but that doesn't mean that what this person did was coming from necessarily a good place. It feels like there was a little bit of spite in here too. A little bit of this person not being able to, quote unquote, handle it anymore, even though it's your emotions, it's your way you're feeling. And you were being honest, open, and vulnerable with this person. And maybe there's some resentment because they can't do that. They don't have the emotional capacity to do that with anyone. And maybe they were there for you in certain times, in certain places, but I think what you did, setting the boundary that you set, I think that was perfectly logical to do. I don't think you were cutting things off prematurely. Anytime, if I knew someone for 30 years, okay, and they violated a boundary when I was really, really vulnerable, and I specifically told them not to, I would still cut them off. It would hurt like hell, but I would still do that because that person is showing me, they're showing me that when push comes to shove, I can't rely on them. So that's kind of what I'm feeling, Elizabeth. Does that make sense? I just don't want, yeah. Yes, it does make sense. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. And better things will come along because of it. And also, in my opinion, Elizabeth, sometimes, absolutely, absolutely. Sometimes we keep these people at a distance and we tell ourselves that this is an option for us in the future. This is a possible option. But really, that's making it so that we're not focusing on the now moment. We're not focusing in the environment we have now. We're focusing on things that are far away. And that kind of takes us out of the present moment, right? And so if he's no longer on the table, we can begin to focus more in our immediate environment, and there can be a relationship there that could work out much better because it would be, two people face to face. So that can be a situation too. I view this as a good thing. I view this as something that's good because it's allowing you to really get into relationships and kind of what you want and what you don't want in a relationship. And even though it's a painful lesson, I feel like you're doing good with this. I feel like you're processing this, and I'm proud of you for being able to do that because this isn't easy stuff. But you've come on here time and again, been going through quite a bit, and you've shown your resilience time and again. And that to me, to be able to raise your head after you've fallen down or after you feel like it's just too hard, that to me is amazing. That's something that not a lot of people can do. So I want you to know I'm rooting for you. And to me, it sounds like you're rooting for you as well. When you set boundaries, that's you rooting for yourself. So thank you for coming on here and sharing things. And always know this can be a home for you. This can be a place where you can talk, where we can talk and communicate. Weirdly, though, these people always seem to come back worse off than when I left them. They will. They will, and thank you, Elizabeth. I'm trying. It's one of those things that it does get easier with time. You're right now, Elizabeth. You're developing a new sense of self, and a lot of times, the old people that you were with. I don't mean old people like 70 or 80-year-old people. Sounds weird, right? The old group of friends that you had, they don't know this version of you, and they don't want you to change, and they don't want you to be anything else than who you've always been. And when you start developing yourself spiritually and you start setting boundaries, that's when these people are like, that's when they show their colors, right? And so it's just kind of spring cleaning right now. And these people will come off worse when they left, because these are people that are self-destructive, narcissistic, self-destructive. That's the kind of people that we're talking about here, and they're always going to be worse off the second time around, because they're, they're just that way. It's just kind of how some people operate. Bradley, are you still there? Just going to make sure, because I want to address your question too, because you're going to be the last question. I've come to realize immaturity isn't an age thing. Most times, if they're immature, they stay that way, even with age. Listen, I've known 60 and 70-year-olds that act like toddlers. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. Age does not mean maturity at all. In fact, working through your shit, that's maturity. Working through your stuff, that's maturity. Age has nothing to do with it. Okay, so Bradley, let's look at what we have here, and let's see what messages we can get, because you asked, I'm going to go up and read it again. What messages comes in from your higher self? Okay, so what message comes in from your higher self? Let's see what we can find here for you, my friend. And please, guys, if you're watching this, like and subscribe on the video if you wouldn't mind. This helps me to keep doing these, And if you guys are wondering about, like love readings and stuff like that, you can look at my generals on the channel. I have all of them posted for all the signs. So if you guys want to check that out, you can do that after this video. Okay. You have a good day too, Elizabeth. Let's see what comes in for you, Bradley. Okay, so we get these three cards. We get Door to Spirit, Door to Spirit in reverse, and I'll explain what these mean. I'm just going to show you the cards first. We get Woman Holding a Heart, and we get Strategy. So this, to me, Bradley, could be that we're looking for, possibly, we're looking for permission to be expressive. It feels like something like that. Maybe we make ourselves smaller than we are. But there's something here where we have Door to Spirit in reverse. And this to me is saying that maybe spiritually we're not taking in the lessons, or we're not taking in what needs to be done. And this isn't a bad thing, and I'm not trying to pick on you. It's basically to say that we can listen a little bit more as to what's going on here. When I see Woman Holding a Heart, and then I see the strategy cards right here, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong in saying this, but maybe we feel like love could be a solution towards how we're feeling. Like if we're not feeling very good about ourselves, or we're not feeling this or that, maybe we feel like love could fix that. Or maybe we feel like being with another person could fix that, possibly. But it won't. In fact, what happens is the issues we have now, they just become bigger, because we've gotten the thing that we've wanted, or we thought we've wanted, and we're still not satisfied. We still feel like something's missing. And so I feel like the main thing here is just kind of stopping and seeing what's going on, and not being afraid to necessarily say what you want out of life. A lot of times we hold our tongue, okay? And when we do that, each time that we don't say our truth, what's going on with us, to people that we care about, we lose ourselves more and more. And that makes it harder for us to come back to ourselves. That makes it hard for us to come back to center. So primarily, I feel like what Spirit is trying to tell you here is that you need to express. You need to express yourself. There's nothing wrong with that, right? kind of look at it like this. When I talk about like a flower, for instance, you can put a bunch of flowers next to each other, and each of those flowers is beautiful in its own right, but when they're all gathered up, they're gorgeous. But those flowers don't compare themselves to the other flowers. Those flowers do not say, well, if that one's so beautiful, I'm not going to bloom. You know, they don't get self-conscious. They allow themselves to be flowers. They allow themselves to bloom and to take in that beautiful sunlight. And I feel like it's time for you to stand tall. It's time for you to be more courageous, more outgoing with how you want to be. But I understand that takes time. And as I've talked about many times on the channel, boundaries are huge. Those are the one things that can help us to identify ourselves further. But to stand tall and to say, this is me, this is who I am, this is what's going on. I feel like it's better to live a life where you stood up and you did the thing anyway, than to live a life where we sort of live in silence and we're minimizing ourselves and we're focusing more on just getting through something. We're just kind of gritting our teeth. I feel like if we can enjoy the experience, that would make life a little bit better. The word endurance comes to mind. I feel like maybe you've been enduring a process, maybe you've been enduring life instead of enjoying life. And obviously that's going to take you out of the moment. That's going to take you into a place where things can feel dreadful or things can feel much harder than they need to be. And all I feel like you need to do is you need to express yourself. Whatever way that can be. You can start by writing in a journal, typing on a computer. You can start by just any kinds of ways you can think to express yourself. And if it has to be a private thing, like I said, computer is good. So no one can read it, you know, it's password protected and stuff like that. But expressing yourself in some way and then reading it back so that you can understand yourself more and more. And then over time, we start to develop a stronger sense of self, what we like, what we don't like. And then we get stronger and stronger in our personality and in how we live our life. Because you deserve to take up space just like anyone else. I've been there myself, so I'm talking about this from experience. You feel sometimes, right? You can feel like if you just shrank down into nothing, even that wouldn't be enough. Sometimes just being noticed can be too much. Sometimes just being the center of one person's attention can be too much. But you have just as much of a right to do anything with your life as anyone else. And maybe you grew up with people telling you what not to do, right? Don't do this, don't do that. You can't do this, you can't do that. But now you have the option to do things that you want to do. Let's not focus on the can'ts and the don'ts. Let's focus on the things that we want to do. Because we've had people possibly tell us from a young age that it's not the time to do this or that, you know, or maybe we're too much to handle. And that can make it so that we lower ourselves down to less than their standards. Because if someone says we're too much to handle, or we're too this or we're too that, then we feel like we're not allowed to express ourselves because it'll be too much. It'll be too intense. It'll be whatever it happens to be. And that's just people not respecting you. That's people not respecting you. They're not respecting your creative self. They're not respecting your soul, what you need to thrive. And those people, in my opinion, those people need to get out of the way because you get to live your life. And I feel like you need to give yourself permission to do so. But I feel like we learn to set boundaries. We learn to talk about what's actually going on. With us, things will get better. But there has to be a release of some sort. There has to be a sense of self-expression in some way. And whatever that happens to be, that's going to help. That's going to, like I said, writing, it can be writing a song, writing just in general. And that helps immensely. I've done it many times. You take all the stuff you're feeling, you write it out, you can read it back to yourself, and it feels like a catharsis. It feels like things are releasing because sometimes we have so much to say, but we don't have anyone to say it to. Or we're too nervous or we're too shy to say it to anybody else because we feel like it won't be heard or received in the way that we want it to. All we want to have at the end of the day is love and appreciation, just like anybody else, and I feel like you deserve that just as much as anyone. Um, so Bradley, does that make sense? Just filling up my cup here. Throw that away here. Hopefully you're still there, Bradley. So that was the message I wanted to give. I do have to get ready to go here in a minute. So if you have something that you want to say about that, uh, or maybe you disconnected, right? So I'll wait here for another second. But I want you to know that however you choose to express yourself, know that it's okay. It's okay to be expressive. It's okay to have a personality, to be creative in this world, to want to leave your mark or not, right? But it's okay no matter what you choose to do. And anyone telling you otherwise, don't listen. Don't listen. Follow your heart. Follow your truth. Okay? And you can let me know with a comment down below this video if it resonated, if things, but I do want you to know that you got this, okay? And you have what it takes in every single way. We just need to flex these muscles a little bit. We just need to flex our muscles a little bit, get ourselves in that groove, and then things can happen for us. Things can start happening. All right, I'm gonna take off. Thank you guys so much for watching me. I really appreciate you guys. Please remember to like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing, and that helps to support the channel immensely. So I will talk to you guys later, and take care. Probably on Wednesday. I'll see you guys. So everyone take care. I'll see you guys later. Bye.